You know, I come in here 6 nights a week. I never know who's going to partner me for the show. Is it going to be Tony Moclair? Could it be Andrew McLaren? Maybe Simon Owens? Ken Francis? Bianca? I wonder who I'm partnering to. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Good evening, Phil, and good evening to all the Nightliners at 8 minutes past 10 on a Friday evening. David Mann, my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and we have no special guest lined up tonight, unlike Tony Moclair, who had people in Sydney and Brisbane all over the world. So it means we have 2 hours for wall-to-wall calls, lots of prizes, and let's keep it light-hearted. You know, the news is so heavy and depressing at the moment.
There's been a lot that is just negativity and sadness, and we have to cover it, obviously being a news talk station.
Yes.
But it was nice. Tony's fairly light-hearted. Well done to Tony Moclair. And he had, I always call her Diane, but Dee Dee.
Oh, isn't she fun? I wonder, have they worked together before? There was a real chemistry there.
Every weekend, Tony is a guest with Peter, Grubby and Dee Dee.
Well, that's why it works.
Peter Stubbs, Diane Dunleavy, and they are they all work together, so they know each other.
He was returning the favour tonight.
Yeah.
Having her in there.
He's been a busy boy. He's been doing mid-dawns across Australia.
Every time I tune in, Tony's on the air. He's taking over. He really... by the way, I've had a lovely day. I'll tell you 3 things I did today, because I like to share everything with our audience. I was driving past an op shop in Elgin Street, Carlton, run for Uralla. One of our favourite charities.
Good.
So I dropped in there and Beryl looked after me. I bought some CDs and books and things. So that was good. Then, because I was only a block from Rathdown Street, dropped in to our mate Giovanni at La Contadina.
Oh, is that where we had your birthday party that time?
Yeah, and he is
fantastic.
One of our clients, as you know. The restaurant is now called the Olive Jar. And I'm not really, David, not really a great pizza eater, but he makes a 4 or 5 cheese pizza, which is to die for. It's quite exclusive to the Olive Jar, but when I go there, I say, give me the 4 cheese pizza, and it just melts in your mouth, followed by mango gelati. Can you imagine?
I'm hungry now, Phil. I'm hungry. Well, I remember the day of your birthday. Craig Opie and I were invited.
Yes, you were.
And he was working, so we went along, and the food just kept coming.
Yeah.
And it was great because I think it's his family who run the restaurant.
It's been there since 1967. Giovanni Miko and his wife Therese and his daughter Elizabeth.
Gee.
And you know, at the end of the night, he sings some Dean Martin songs and Elvis songs. It's good value.
It was great when the restaurants were around that had always been around for a long time. I remember the Walnut Tree, you know, with Vi and Bernard.
Yeah, I used to love that.
Oh,
it was sort of
fabulous.
downstairs. There were no windows, were there? Because it was below street level.
Correct.
But there were stained glass windows.
And the one that I still love that's been there forever, and I hope they never change it, the Olive Tree, which is in Park Street, South Melbourne.
Okay.
It still has the stuffed deer head on the wall and the old copper plates. And I said, never, ever change, because the dad's in the kitchen, the daughters do the waitressing, and it's quality and quantity. Oh, the Parmigianas there are unbelievable.
Okay. And now I found a nice Italian restaurant years ago in Carlton. It wasn't in Lygon Street, and it was called the Spaghetti Tree.
Oh, yes.
And they had a big blackboard up where you could do your own graffiti.
And it used to be open. I used to go there after doing Midnight to Dawn on Saturday nights, early Sunday morning. It would still be open.
I wonder if it's still there, maybe, all these years later.
Or another one, I'm sure it was called Arrivederci. I may be wrong, but Arrivederci, and it was either Rathdown Street or somewhere up that end of town. And that was the night that we went along, we were invited, and Sammy Davis Jr. and Liza Minnelli came to dinner.
And Sinatra was supposed to be there too.
And that was the name of I'm sure it was the restaurant. It had a mezzanine, and it was in Carlton. And what was the other one called?
Did Sammy and Liza give you an autograph that night?
The next day.
Oh, yeah.
I have the main event poster autographed by Sammy Davis Jr., Liza Minnelli, and Frank Sinatra.
He did it even though you saw him
the next night. Oh. And they autographed the poster.
Would you one Friday night talk about your autograph collection, how it started?
Yes.
Or it might be a Remember When topic. Think about it. We'll have you in on Remember When. Hey, other nice restaurants in the past. Graham Kennedy took me to 3 that I couldn't have afforded to go to in those days. One was Glow Glows in the city.
Yes.
Maybe before your time.
No, I remember it.
Another was Fanny's.
Yeah, very upmarket.
Now, one of them was downstairs and had a big grand piano when you walked in. And the other restaurant he used to take me to was Maxim's in South Yarra.
Oh,
in Mathura
gee.
Road, near where Vi Greenhalgh lived.
Very upmarket.
Yeah, and Bert Newton and Patty were always taking us to the Clevedon Room at the Hilton in East Melbourne.
And there was a bar there called Decanters that if you were really, really big in town, you had your own decanter of port.
Oh, really?
So you'd go up, you'd undo the little sort of latch, open it, and you'd have a bottle of port. And the best that we did, being Box Hill North boys, was our treat was to get in the car. Dad would take us down to Whitehorse Road with the saucepans, and we'd pick up the takeaway Chinese in the saucepans.
Yes, you would. You'd take your own.
Yes,
you would,
yeah.
in those days.
You get the special fried rice, the chicken chow mein, and fill up the saucepans, and then put it in a bag and bring it home and eat it quickly before it got cold.
And you'd go to McEwen's and buy a wok.
Oh,
you had to have a wok.
There's a name, McEwen's. Here's a trivia bit for you early in the show, Phil. McEwen's, I used to go to McEwen's every week with one of the on-air team at 3AW, and every week he compared at McEwen's giving away prizes. He'd give away lawnmowers, paint.
Would it be Arthur Lister?
Yes. That's not a setup. How did you know that?
I just guessed.
Artie Lister was the person who said, just this is how you MC. And so the first day he let me MC, he said, right, David, it's your turn now. Here we are. We've got a big audience. My friend David Mann, please. And I got up and I said, hello, love, to the lady who was in front of me. He said, that's the end of your comparing.
Why? What was wrong with that?
He said, I can call somebody love because he said, at that stage, he was about 65.
Yeah,
he said, you're 18 years of age.
Oh.
He said, you say the lady in the yellow or the gentleman
Respect.
Correct.
Okay.
Still do it today.
A wonderful human being, Arthur Lucky Lister.
Wonderful.
Weren't he and Peter James good on there together
fabulous.
when they did the Pioneer Show?
And his nickname was the Champ.
Oh, why? Because of the race course or why?
Yeah, well, he had a bit to do with racing, but Peter James, great person.
Yeah, all of those. Now, folks, maybe you might like to ring in and tell us about your favourite restaurant of the past, one that's maybe long gone, but somewhere you used to frequent. Now, I don't know if you can still go to a Sizzler or I used to love Sizzler. That was good, where all you could eat.
Haven't seen one of those for a long time.
Can you think of any others in the past that...
there used to be...
The Keg was good. And Denny's out at Channel O.
And what about Eugene, who used to come to Latrobe Street with all the chicken? Big Rooster, I think it was called.
Yeah.
The place was full of chicken. He'd come in with all this hot chicken. It was Big Rooster. There's now Red Rooster, which is terrific. Yeah. But I'm sure there was a company called Big Rooster.
Okay. And what was the restaurant where the girls used to shell the nuts and all the shells would be on the ground and you'd stomp on them?
Peanuts.
No, that wasn't the restaurant. No, it'll come back to me. It was out in Albert Road, Preston, near the Olympic Hotel.
Oh, sorry, boys. Can I interrupt?
Yeah, where was it?
One of my favourites, the Lone Star.
That's it. Wasn't it good?
They were fantastic.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, the restaurant, I would give anything to be able to go back to Rob's restaurant.
Rob's Carousel.
Carousel by the Albert Park Lake.
Wouldn't it still be there?
No.
But, well, the building is still there, but Rob's are long gone. Now, as you know, as you both know, I'm a bit of an aficionado on hot chocolate fudge. I do love a banana split and a fudge sundae.
Yeah.
They had the best hot chocolate fudge I have ever tasted, and I haven't had anything like it since Rob's went to
Really? Okay. I went past Rob, so it's still a restaurant or maybe a convention centre now.
The Carousel.
Yeah.
Still there.
It's called.
All right.
And a big favourite of the 3AWs used to be Chenny's. Peter Chen was the owner, and he had a restaurant, I think it was Little Burke Street, called Chenny's. Chinese, obviously.
Yeah.
And that was very good.
And what about Smorgies?
Smorgies? What about Copperwood?
Oh, that's still there, I think, in Lygon Street. I took Mary Murphy there 50 years ago. It's still there.
Copperwood, and what was the...
There's a university club, I think it might be called, with beautiful teak walls, like a ship from the past. And then, for Ken and myself, our favourite, Fast Eddie's at the top of Burke Street. That was fabulous, wasn't it?
We loved it.
For Eggs Benedict.
It was not uncommon in our crazier, younger days, you have to understand, David, for Phil to come out to the booth after Nightline and say, Kenny, what do you think? Let's head off to Fast Eddie's. And off we'd go, up to the top of Burke Street. It'd be, what would it be, about 1:45 in the morning, and there we were, Phil having eggs Benedict, me having pancakes with ice cream on them. I don't know what. I mean, we could do it in those days. We had the metabolism for it. But there, you'd find us there at 1 or 2 in the morning.
Is that where Fast Eddie came from? Because there's a famous chef called Fast Eddie.
They're still in Perth. They have a chain of restaurants still in Perth to this day. But my favourite used to be the Embassy Cafe for taxi drivers.
Oh.
Is that still there up there in West Melbourne?
It is.
Is it?
I used to go there before I did mid-dawn. I'd pop in there, get
what
a
was
hamburger.
The name of the restaurant? It was run by Embassy Taxi.
It was Embassy Taxi's corner. I think it was Roden Street and Spencer Street.
And Silvertops had one in town too.
And there was a lady there. Her name was Anna. Bless her soul. This is going back 30 years. Anna. And Anna had, Anna was quite a senior lady, but she made the best hamburgers and the best takeaway coffee. And so I nicknamed her Sexy Anna. So I'd get on here at midnight to dawn, the man hours on a Saturday night, and I'd say, oh, just having a little bit of a coffee here and a hamburger from the Embassy Taxi Depot. And hello to Sexy Anna. She is the most beautiful lady. All these people would then go into the Embassy Taxi Depot and ask for Sexy Anna, and she'd say, oh, look, I'm sorry, she just finished about an hour ago.
Yeah, but David never dared call her love. There's a very special day on Flemington tomorrow, which is close to your heart.
I love Flemington. I think it's a fantastic race course, and they're very good because they offered us this day some time back the 3AW. Well, it's a family day. It's the 3AW Family Day, but of course it's the Guineas Day, which is a Group 1 race. And I love the horse, so I don't sort of understand all the things about them. But the first race is at 12:40, the last race at 5:45. I think there's about 9 races. And one Philip Brady. Would you like to announce, Phil, what you're doing tomorrow?
Well, I'll be there judging the best groomed horse. And this will be on Channel 7, folks, if you can't be at Flemington on the day. What do I wear? Should I wear jockey's colours or be conservative?
What do you know about horses?
Oh, I love horses. I rode an Icelandic horse in Reykjavik, Iceland. They're like Shetland ponies. They're just gorgeous. And I've been to the Melbourne Cup on occasions, and yeah, I love thoroughbred racing.
So you'll judge the best presented horse for one of the races.
All right.
And I think you're going to have a little friend with you, and I think his name is young Mr. Gilbert.
Yeah, Robson. Yeah, look forward to that. He can accompany me, absolutely.
He will be there, Alexander, and Alexander will be there. He's a very proud young man, and he'll help you judge the best presented horse. But you know what, Phil? We have a little crisis management with Tom Elliott.
Tell me why.
He can't go near the horses.
Is he allergic?
Yes.
What, to their fur or,
Correct.
or their breath?
And he starts sneezing.
Oh.
So he's very happy to present the connections. He'll be presenting one of the races, as will Dennis Walter. But Tom's very polite and humble, but his team told me, they said, Tom cannot go anywhere near the horses. Yeah, he's allergic.
Do you remember when the Queen was presented to Black Caviar and I heard her say, oh, does she bite?
Oh,
and she went up to stroke the nose. Yeah, oh, does she bite?
Oh,
yeah.
Black Caviar. And she wouldn't.
No, I think not.
So yeah, it's going to look.
Oh, is our friend Craig Opie going to be there? I hope he will be.
No, I think he's got some duties in Echuca tomorrow.
All right.
But it's free for children under 16. So the VRC really doing a great job. Free for the children under 16. And we will have the 3AW 693 News Talk Sport race, and then also the 3AW Roy Higgins Quality. And Dennis Walter will be presenting, yourself, Tom Elliott, and lots of family things.
All right, at Flemington tomorrow, and that's the Australian Guineas Day. I'm bringing my lovely friend Edna, who's been to the races with us before, the Moonee Valley, and 2 doctor friends who you will meet tomorrow.
And the boys in the morning program, Ross and John, were talking about race 2. There's a horse called Darren.
Oh, okay.
True, Darren, in one of our races.
Could be an omen. Hey, let's take some calls. We've got a full board there. Here's Sarah in Dandenong. Hi, Sarah.
Oh, hi, guys.
Thanks for waiting on.
Hi, Sarah.
Okay, yeah, I was just interested. You were talking about autographs before.
Yes.
I was doing a bit of cleaning out the other day, and I found a very old autograph book that I had when I was very, very young.
Mm-hmm.
And it has Brian Poole, Jerry from Jerry and the Pacemakers.
Gee, that's good.
Gene Pitney.
Yes.
And Dusty Springfield.
All on the one page?
No, they are all single pages.
Gee.
They are all single pages addressed to me with love and with happiness and with all sorts of lovely things.
Well, you know their prices because we've lost Dusty and Jean now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick Milne is a wonderful person with memorabilia and autographs, and he guests on Overnight with Luke Boner, so you could always place a call to Rick, and he'd give you an idea of what they're worth. Or also a gentleman called Charles Lesky, and I think it's Moss Green Auctions. They have a lot of auctions with memorabilia, but you know the provenance of them, that they're actually real because you collected them yourself, didn't you?
Oh, well, a friend of mine got them. And I'm pretty sure that Normie Rowe and the Playboys were backing up these artists, and they were all on the same bill, or some of them were at the same time. He was a friend of mine. I gave him my autograph book, and he got autographs from these people at the time. So, yes, I know they're all authentic.
Well, if we'd been wise here at 3AW, we would have had a guest book over the years and just had it in the foyer, because now with social media we take pictures and we upload it to the 3AW website. But if we'd had a guest book, you would have had George Burns, you would have had Frank Sinatra, you would have had everybody who'd walked through the studios, and most of them would sign. They're not too happy about photos, but they'd sign a little note. And those guest books over the years, boy, oh boy, would they be collectible.
Oh, that's nice, Sarah. Hang on to that. And thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. I tell you what, there's our friend Chris from Broadmeadows at 29 minutes past 10. And Chris, I'm expecting that you'll give us just one or two tips for tomorrow for our 3AW Family Day at Flemington.
Well, I can give you 3 tips.
Okay, my pen is ready, Chris. This is probably the most important phone call you've made tonight, Ron.
Race 2 at 1:15 p.m. The 3AW 693 News Talk Sports, quality listed, otherwise technically known as a Group 4 race. Number 7, Selenia, at $6.50 for the win.
Thank you. Number 7.
And race 4, the 3AW Roy Higgins quality at 2:30 p.m. Number 6, Villanova, to upset the Perth Cup winner, Real Love. Villanova is trained by Chris Waller and can be ridden by Craig Froggy Newitt. That's at $18 for the win.
Oh, gee.
And the best bet, but
yes.
I'm just a bit concerned about this New Zealand horse in the Australian Guineas, this extravagant. It's been winning races by 5, 6 and 7 lengths over in New Zealand, but I've gone with the Victorian Derby winner, number 2, race 7, number 2, Tarzeto. On Thursday, I backed it at the odds of $7 a win, $2.50 placed. I've had $10 each way on that.
Okay, so race 2, number 7, race 4, number 6, race 7, number 2, and they are Chris from Broadmeadows tips for tomorrow at the 3AW Family Day.
Yeah, but what is the name of horse number 2 in race 7?
Tarzino. Hey, can I tell you something funny that happened last week with the horses?
Yeah.
I was telling my mate Mark, who's considerably wealthier than me, I said, look, Mark, don't muck around, just take a multi, take Winks in Sydney into Extreme Choice in the Blue Diamond, put 1,000 on it, and just watch the magic happen. He goes, I figure, he said Extreme Choice was vulnerable. I said, no, if it gets beaten, I'll wash your car. He said, but Chris, I've got 4 cars.
Well, Chris, you haven't let us down. Thank you very much for your call.
I made a note of those,
for the tips. And then Phil will obviously be very, very happy because Phil has a voucher tomorrow, $500 from the VRC to bet with, and the proceeds of the winnings, and Phil, I hope there are winnings, the proceeds of the winnings will go to the Starlight Foundation.
Chris, I'll give it my...
26 to 11, and I was going to give out the phone number, but we've got so many people waiting, Phil, to have a chat.
Yeah.
But speaking of having a chat, I met some quite remarkable people this week, and you never know what sort of happens behind the scenes. Dr. David Marsh is a very good friend of ours here at 3AW, and Dr. Marsh is a gentleman who helped many of the people when the bombing happened in Bali. He and his wife Claire received an Order of Australia honour for that, an OAM. And during the week, some of his colleagues, Dr. Rowan White and Clara and Greg, they were at Bridge Road Imaging, and I had the chance to see exactly what they do. And I actually said to them how lucky we are to have great medical people, great young people who are highly trained with specialist equipment. And people, I think, sometimes take it for granted that, unfortunately, if you get sick, and we've had, people and things happen. And obviously Bruce is in the best of care now with people. But quite remarkable the technology they work with, the ultrasound machines and what they can do.
They're even doing stuff in 3D now.
Yes, yeah, and they learn all these techniques. They're backed up by all the great work. So well done to the people at the Epworth. 3AW is a big supporter of that, and to Dr. David Marsh. I know he's got a huge day tomorrow, being Saturday. They've got a whole lot of the doctors, a big conference, but they're continually updating their skills, updating their knowledge, and learning from all around the world. But to Dr. Rowan White, who is a very clever doctor, and Clearer, his assistant, and Greg at Bridge Road Imaging, it was quite amazing seeing what you do, how you do it, and well done to the people of Epworth.
Yeah, oh yeah, Epworth. Hats off to them. They are heroes of ours for many reasons.
Absolutely. They've helped some of the people at AW directly. I was going to say indirectly, but directly, and and it's a huge hospital. Absolutely.
I was under their care when they had bronchitis at Christmas, and I know the Newton family have lived there over the years at times when Patty's mother Ewan was there, and you just get the best of care at the Epworth.
Well, Tony Bedison, who's been a friend of AW, his wife Robin is one of the great volunteers there, and we've supported the Epworth Ball over the years with some great prizes, but deservedly so. And of course, one of the great people there is one of our people, Dr. Peter Larkins.
I'm aware of that, and there are plaques in different parts of the hospital acknowledging 3AW's contribution.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, I've seen them.
Oh.
Hey, Lisa's in Northcote. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, make you hungry now. Just some restaurants, I'll be very quick.
Yes.
Years ago when I was a kid, we used to go to Val's in Glenferrie Road, Hawthorne.
Okay.
Val's.
Do you remember that one?
No, I haven't been there.
What sort of cuisine was it?
Oh, mainly Italian, and I think I was about 4, and I asked them for some tomato sauce. And the waiter said, "Oh, madam, we don't have ketchup here."
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Very, very posh, yes.
Another
very
one?
posh, and my current most favourite, I highly recommend it. Giving them a plug, it's Miss Katie's Crab Shack, and it's in the Rochester Hotel in Fitzroy.
Okay.
And they cook New Orleans crab and prawns and mussels, and you have a big bib, and it's so much fun.
We'll have to go there together, Lisa. Man.
Oh, fantastic.
And give us one more. Make the trifecta, Lisa.
Yeah, I'm going to. You gave me a voucher for the Pancake Parlour. I took my mother there today. It was really, really nice. It was air-conditioned. We had the barramundi.
Which one did you go to?
Doncaster.
Oh, yeah, it's my favourite.
Yeah, and then we had a bit of money left over, so we bought a kilo of pancake mixture.
Good.
It's interesting, Phil, because what Lisa has said, you can have the barramundi, because people say, the pancake parlour is just pancakes, but I often have a chicken Caesar salad, and the barramundi is like about $12.90, and you get a whole lot of sides
You're
with
right,
it.
it's misleading. You don't have to eat pancakes.
And then you can buy things. So Lisa bought the pancake mix, and what do we say about the pancake parlour?
It's lovely. There you are, nice plug. Thanks, Lisa.
Good on you.
John at Mount Waverley.
Hi, guys.
G'day.
Hi, John.
About a week ago, I went to see Merle at Rainy Day Books.
Oh, yes.
And she got in for me, or had copied, as they do nowadays, the book called The Day Hollywood Came to Melbourne, about On the Beach.
I know it. I think it's by Philip Davies.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, there's a photo that would interest you, Phil. There's a photo of Graham Kennedy, supposedly at a restaurant with a young lady.
Yeah.
But it never made the final cut of the film.
Yeah, and I'll tell you where he shot that scene. It was at a nightclub in Russell Street, long gone, called Ciro's.
Yeah.
And the restaurant, the nightclub had a canopy out the front, but that's where Graham shot his scene, which, as you know, ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, they said they didn't know who the young lady was, you know. But they had Ava Garden, who come from overseas, and Gregory Peck, and the other one, the dancing chap.
Well, that was Fred Astaire,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
But, yes, I bought it for an elderly family friend of ours. He was in charge of the Frankston Yacht Club when they made that film.
Okay, well, the good news is I think they're going to make a documentary now about the making of the movie.
Yes, I think Mel said that there's a CD coming, or a DVD
That's
coming
right,
out. I'll
yeah.
get that for sure.
All right, thanks for that, John. Yeah, and the book, David, is called The Day Hollywood Came to Melbourne.
Is John still there, Ken? Oh, okay. I was going to ask him what other sort of... Oh, he's getting him back. I'll tell you what, that was an interesting call. We'll give John a prize too. Are you happy with that, Phil?
Yeah, absolutely.
2 tickets to Gold the ABBA Tribute, celebrating Dancing Queen, the 40th anniversary tour. And Saturday, it's...
We don't have a date or a venue here.
No, on that. It just
Okay,
says 2
John, are you
tickets
back?
to Gold the ABBA...
Thank you.
David's got a prize for you.
2
Thank
tickets
you.
to Gold the ABBA Tribute, celebrating Dancing Queen, the 40th anniversary. We'll find out exactly where it is. It's not on this sheet in front of us. But are you a bit of an ABBA fan, John?
Oh, music in general. I love it all.
Good. Okay, and you know, the tip is, if you're looking for hard-to-find books, go to Merrill at Rainy Day Books in the Basin. Hello, Gigi. Gigi. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Gigi.
We hear you.
Can't you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Speak to us.
I'm going to. Now, you're talking about restaurants. Fanny's in the city.
Yes.
Mary Hardy took me there after I'd been a guest on her 3AW program in 1976.
Now, Gigi, was that in Lonsdale Street?
No, in Latrobe Street.
Latrobe Street?
Well, it was where the cobblestones.
Ah.
1976.
Gee. Yes, it was very upmarket, wasn't it, Fanny's restaurant?
It was. And she was kind enough to order an extra meal of lobster for me to take home to my mother.
Oh, how nice. She had a big heart, Mary.
She sure did. And 2 other restaurants in Camberwell that we used to frequent, the Nutcracker
Yes.
and the Black Knight.
I know them both, yes. I think they're long gone. My favourite, David, in Burke Road was a Chinese restaurant called Louis. Was there for years.
Yes, we used to go to Louis in Burke Road, Camberwell.
Have you been there, Gigi?
No, not that one, no. And sometimes I've been to any restaurants in Camberwell.
All right.
I mean, I've been... No, that's wrong. I have been to some, but I can't really tell you what their names are.
Oh, no,
I'm terrible
forgotten.
with names.
All right, well, I hope you're recovering from your cat bite.
I am, but the problem is the anaesthetic has given me amnesia because my neighbours complained that I've got Alzheimer's because I keep repeating myself and I forget what she tells me.
Yeah.
And Gigi, another wonderful restaurant I've just thought of that's still going, and I believe they've had about 5 million customers over the years. The Cuckoo in the Dandenongs.
Yes, I've been there. It's wonderful. I love it because my parents came from Vienna.
Oh.
And so I love all that, and I love the Lederhosen and the Schulblattler and all that sort of music and etc. And also, you mentioned Maxim's.
Yes.
One of Mary Hardy's birthday parties I went to, which was at... there goes my memory again. Yeah. She had the food catered for by Maxim's, and it was beautiful.
I'm not surprised.
Brilliant. Yes,
it sounds like she's bought you. Thanks, Gigi.
She did.
Now, a couple of other German restaurants I used to love, Edelweiss and the Hofbrauhaus.
Yes.
Where you dress up in the Lederhosen and all that, you know. And, so there, and also the German club in Dandenong Road is a wonderful place today.
I thought I'd made it, Phil. When I was about 18, I was given a key. There was a key club in Melbourne. It was in, I think, near the Centre Point Arcade. It was called Mulligan's. And you had a key, and the only way you could get in was actually use the key to unlock the front door and go in. And people thought it was like having a gold American Express card in those days. It was fairly impressionable for people to see you open the door.
I'm sure. It sounds very impressive. And let's not forget the Bird and the Bottle in Croydon.
From the suburbs of Melbourne.
Goes long and wide and disappoint. Mate, it is... We're not even into March, for goodness sake.
To the Goulburn Valley and the city of Shepparton, the 3AW NAB Challenge bus rolls on. Tomorrow from midday, join Grubby and Dee Dee with the weekend break. Then, from 2 p.m, it's Essendon versus Geelong.
Monmouth open goal, step over the shoulder, and he's nailed it.
3AW is country football.
Right now, Lexus of Blackburn is offering unbelievable value on selected RC2 200T IS and CT models. Drive away in a new Lexus vehicle and receive complimentary on-road costs, including dealer delivery, stamp duty, registration and CTP insurance, but only for a limited time. Visit Lexus of Blackburn's cafe-style showroom, 146 Whitehorse Road, or lexusofblackburn.com.au. Terms and conditions apply.
Lexus of Blackburn, Melbourne's Lexus specialist, LMCT 10093.
Are you sick of excess fluid making you look and feel fat? Water retention can be responsible for extra weight on the scales and swollen limbs. Fortunately, Frank Caruso has created his triple herbal action Fluid Away just for you. Frank's so passionate about helping you, he stands behind Caruso's Fluid Away with a money-back guarantee.
It's the way we make it that makes all the difference.
Caruso's Fluid Away from leading health stores and pharmacies. Always read the label. Use only as directed. If symptoms persist, see your healthcare professional.
मेरे मुस्तकबिल के कुछ मंसूबे हैं.
Mam zaplanowano przyszłość.
I've also planned for the future. With a Tobin Brothers Funerals fixed price funeral plan, you can be sure your family won't be burdened with the cost of your funeral. Your life will be celebrated the way you want it and the price is fixed forever.
Je l'ai prévu pour l'avenir.
Plan for the future today so you can relax and enjoy the journey with those who matter most. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating diversity as they celebrate lives.
Introducing another RACV Small Business Achiever, Joe Sultana from JP&T Electrical Contractors in Williamstown. Joe's been powering businesses since 1997 and he prides himself on his customer service. Helping to keep things charging along is RACV Business Insurance with protection for Joe's tools, liability cover, plus access to a range of member benefits. To join the thousands of other members with RACV Business Insurance, call 13 RACV. Product issued by Insurance Australia Limited. Please consider the PDS. For a copy, call 13 RACV.
Balmoral Village in Wantirna South offers the solution to a peaceful retirement lifestyle. If you're seeking a low-maintenance way to live with community around you, Balmoral Village could be just for you. Independence, security, peace of mind. The residents will tell you it's a great place to live, a hive of activity, a tranquil place to relax. The lifestyle choice is yours. To view the well-designed units and landscaped grounds, talk to Balmoral Village on 9800 1333.
Herald Sun headlines. For Harvey Norman, shop at home, on your mobile or your local store.
David, we have our friend Michelle Ainsworth at the Herald Sun. Good evening, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle.
Hello, good evening.
Let's thumb through the paper together.
So, front is the bombshell book that looks at the relationship or the dynamic between Tony Abbott and Peter Credlin when they were running the country effectively. Mm-hmm. So that'll be a very interesting one to read through. Going inside, we've got a story from Alyssa Doherty, our education reporter, on rising number of private schools that are charging more than $30,000 per year to put kids through Year 12.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's becoming a very expensive task to educate some children.
Yes.
And we've also got something that is quite horrible if you check out the website. It's footage of a young woman who has slipped while working at a McDonald's restaurant in hot oil.
Oh.
So it's pretty bad. So there's a story on that in which the owners have gone to court, but you'll see some footage on the website also.
Okay, one more story, please.
And one more, I think I am going to go with, I don't even have anything of great happiness for you, but I can tell you that if they turn on the desalination plant, it looks like our water bills will go up $12.
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you what, Michelle, each and every week that you've been on Nightline of a Friday evening, there's been big stories leading the Herald Sun with the front page, because I've thought about what you've said, and the next day picked up the paper. I don't read online, I pick up the newspaper, and they have been very, very big stories, a couple of exclusives there. You've missed one vital page, Michelle.
Is this the weather page?
No, I'm not going to talk about including Denpasar anymore.
Oh.
It's happening. I know it's going to happen. No, there's a big page called the 3AW Guide. It's Flemington, the guide for the 3AW Guineas Day tomorrow being Saturday at Flemington. So make sure you have a look at that and highlight it on the website too.
We will do. And you have to pick it up because tomorrow is the 2016 Footy Mag. So
great.
It is. You've got to get this to be prepared for the season. Every side is analysed, all the players.
Okay.
So that's what you want.
All right, thanks, Michelle. Happy weekend to you and everybody at the HWS.
You too.
Or the HWT, I suppose, the Herald and Weekly Time.
What's the HWS?
The Herald and Weekly Sun.
The Herald and Weekly Shop. Thanks, Michelle.
Dale's in View Park. Hello, Dale.
Evening, Phil and David.
You're right.
Hello, Dale.
How are you tonight?
Good,
very
mate,
well.
thank you.
Very well.
Just a job well done on your Good Friday appeal. The continued support that you guys do for the Good Friday appeal.
Oh, I tell you what, I can tell you one other one that they're doing too, Dale, because Baker's Delight, now you mentioned the Good Friday appeal for the Royal Children's Hospital.
Yep.
The hot cross bun sale is tomorrow across the entire state with Baker's Delight. 360,000 hot cross buns will be baked, and $1 from every 6-pack of hot cross buns sold will be donated to the Good Friday appeal. And the funds raised from this very, very worthwhile initiative will go towards purchasing a new ultrasound machine for the Royal Children's Hospital. So well under Baker's Delight. So if you're buying your hot cross buns tomorrow, you're not only going to buy them from Baker's Delight to enjoy them, but you'll $1 from every 6-pack goes to the hospital.
There you are. That's good news. Now, what's on your mind, Dale?
Oh, look, you're talking about the restaurants, or I'm talking about a pub, actually, the Braybrook Hotel.
Which one?
The Braybrook Hotel in the Western Suburbs.
Okay, what's special about that?
Well, it's like a sizzler. It's the old sizzler. It's sort of like all you can eat. And Tom Elliott was on with the manager last week.
Yeah.
And it's the best food in the West, I think.
And it's still there, the Braybrook, is it?
Yeah, they've just done a $5 million renovation. So
I have to drop out there.
It's very nice.
All right.
I tell you what, Tony Leonard should go there and maybe do Pub of the Week.
Yeah, it sounds a good idea. Thanks for that, Dale. I remember when there were a lot of cattle lunches around Lennox Street, Richmond and Swan Street, and there were pubs there where not so long ago you get a T-bone steak for $9.99. So, Sunday night on Remember When, a very special guest will be Bobby Johnson from the Blue Jays, and we'll be covering the rock and roll era. It's going to be so much fun.
Hello again. This is John Doremus with the passing parade of the story of John Boyle O'Reilly, rebel, poet, and author, whose escape from the West Australian penal settlement in 1869 stirred the hearts of Irish patriots the world over. And I'll be back with the story of John O'Reilly after this message. John Boyle O'Reilly was born in 1844 near Dublin, where his father was a schoolmaster. At 11, he took a job as printer's devil on a local newspaper, and from 1859 to 1863 worked as a reporter in Preston, Lancashire, mixing with youthful recklessness in the harebrained Fenian plots of the large Irish colony in Lancashire, mills and factories. Still under 19, he abandoned journalism for the greater excitement of spreading sedition among Irish soldiers garrisoned in Dublin Castle. Enlisting in the 10th Hussars, he won a reputation as the most daring horseman in the regiment. As a conspirator, however, he proved a dismal failure. He talked too loud and too often, and in February of 1866 was arrested and flung into a military jail. Court-martialed, he was sentenced to be shot, but the sentence was commuted to 20 years imprisonment, and he was transported to the penal settlement in West Australia. There he made friends with an Irish priest, Father Patrick McCabe, and a free settler named Maguire, who promised to help him escape. On the night of February 18, 1869, O'Reilly broke out of the convict camp and was led by Maguire to a boat drawn up on the beach. In accordance with the escape plan, he rowed across the bay, where he remained hidden for 5 days in the blistering sand hills before being picked up by the American whaling ship Gazelle, whose skipper had been persuaded by Father McCabe to take O'Reilly to Java for a fee of £10. From Java, O'Reilly worked his way on another American vessel to the United States. He arrived there in November of 1869 to find himself a Fenian hero. During this tour of the country, he lectured on his adventures to cheering Irish audiences, settling eventually in Boston, where he worked for a newspaper called The Pilot, chief organ of Irish nationalist sentiment in America. In 1876, Britain was stunned by a Scarlet Pimpernel swoop that snatched the 6 remaining Irish ex-soldiers from the West Australian convict colony. O'Reilly, who engineered the coup, had been planning their rescue ever since arriving in America. He sent 4 Fenian agents to Australia and had them charter a whaling ship to pick up the 6 men, whose escape was carefully arranged. A wild outburst of rejoicing greeted their safe arrival in America. When O'Reilly went on a lecture tour of the Middle West and California, he was feted like a national hero. Now a major figure on the American literary scene. He published several volumes of poetry, collections of Irish ballads, and a novel, Moondine, based on his experiences as a convict. Overwork gradually undermined his health, and he was racked by insomnia and nervous depression. On August 10th, 1890, aged only 46, he died from an overdose of chloral. Our time is up till we meet again for another chapter in the Passing Parade. This is John Doremus. As always, thank you so much, and goodbye.
And our good friend, Richard Carline's there for the Ian Reid Vendor Advocacy. Hello, Rich.
Hello, Richard.
Open the door, Richard.
There he is.
Listen, a lovely day. We had a bit of rain this afternoon, unexpectedly.
That's right. The thunderstorms are expected over the ranges, but they came a little further southwards, and we had some falls of 1 to 3 millimetres in the metropolitan area. That was after quite a hot day as well, 33 degrees in the city.
And a bit humid, wasn't it?
It was humid. Got up to 39 at Melbourne Airport.
Gee.
And also out at Viewbank. So it was a warm to hot day, and then we had that storm activity, but that's moved away.
And Richard, there was a lot of discussion today on AW through the various programs, and it's a big word when you use it, but drought. But I know a lot of the people, Neil and Tom and people Dennis taking calls from people saying, you know, are you in a drought? And they've gone absolutely back to sort of the mid-80s.
Well, it's been very dry, particularly over Western Victoria over the last 6 to 12 months. Some places really missed out on spring rainfall, and with the heat this summer, it's just contributed to very dry conditions across the state, and there's just no sign of rain around over the next week, and we've got this hot weather continuing.
So tomorrow is a special day for us, the 3AW Family Race Day at Flemington. Still expecting a top of 26?
25 we've gone for in the city. It looks somewhat milder tomorrow. An overnight low of 19, so we'll start off fairly mild conditions, but we'll have a layer of cloud with a slight chance of some early drizzle. But the afternoon should become mostly sunny, heading for that top of 25 degrees as a sea breeze freshens. But then the temperature rises Sunday, fine early cloud, then a sunny afternoon up to 30 degrees. And the heat just persists for quite a number of days. There's just nothing to move it out of southern Victoria. Monday, fine 30 degrees. Tuesday, a slight chance of a shower, 34. Wednesday, mostly fine 32. Sure. And then 34 degrees on Thursday and Friday leading into the long weekend. So it just looks like a long, hot week. Outer suburbs, probably 2 to 3 degrees warmer on most days. So a real run of early autumn heat here.
Yeah, a real Indian summer, isn't it?
That's amazing. So tomorrow, 19 to 25, Sunday 30, Monday 30, Tuesday 34, Wednesday 32, Thursday 34, Friday 34. It's unbelievable. Summer's over.
Okay, Rich, best to you and a happy weekend to everyone at the Bureau.
Thanks, Phil.
Okay, but here's David Mann to welcome our country cousins.
And we say hello to all our friends at 3NE Wangaratta, 1566 on the dial, and 2QN Deniliquin, 1521. And I tell you what, people pick us up all the way because I know the people in the Grampians are listening. I know people the other side of, we had a call the other day from the other side of Axedale. That's heading up past Epilock on the way to Echuca.
All right.
And, of course, across the Bass Strait, they pick us up very easily at Devonport and Launceston.
Yeah, hi to all our friends in northern Tasmania. And to Mary Vesio, my best girl, formerly of 3NE. Hi to you, Mary.
And, Phil, do you say Launceston?
I do, Launceston, yeah. That's the way, yeah. My grandparents lived there for a while when they migrated from New Zealand.
I know you have a special guest on Sunday night, Bobby Johnson.
Yeah.
And Bobby and I met when Rest Point opened back in 1973.
Okay.
And the only reason I know how to say it correctly is because I would do crosses to the casino. So I'd go to Rest Point Casino.
Yeah, I remember you did.
The Alice Springs Country Club Casino. The Diamond Beach Casino.
That's right.
And then the Launceston Country Club Casino. And I said Launceston initially. They went, no, it's Launceston.
I know that red brick building. It's a beautiful establishment.
Lots of wood in it too.
Yeah, I know. And Bobby Johnson, guess where he was born in Australia?
Bobby Johnson.
I'll give you 3 guesses.
Mildura?
No. Over the border?
Over the border.
Yes.
Tamworth?
No. One more guess.
Gunnedah?
Canberra. Yeah, you'll find out on Sunday night. Yeah, absolutely.
Bobby Johnson, great music.
Yeah, the Blue Jays. It's going to be fun, Ken, isn't it? To rock and roll on Remember When.
He knows it all. Hello to Queenie. Oh, one of the great stalwarts.
Hello, David. Look, I've got a question to ask you.
Yes.
And also to you, Phil.
Yeah.
Then I'll tell you about my restaurant. David, my dad was you're very much into the MFB, aren't you?
Yes, Queenie, I am. I have a long relationship with the MFB, the Metropolitan Fire Brigade, since 1981.
So my father used to look out at that little glass top. He was a watchman, and there was one spire like St. Pat's Cathedral, and he used to watch all around the city, and you could always see the animals.
Yes, that's and the Fire Museum, which is on the corner of, it's Gisborne Street and Victoria Parade there at Eastern Hill Fire Station headquarters. We call it Number 1 Station. That has the history of the tower there that used to be the spotting tower, and that's amazing because in the old days a lot of people lived at the fire stations.
Yes, I did, and also he said I've had my photo with my sister when we were about 7, up on that parapet. Before you go up to that, he said you're not allowed to go up those steps, and it used to sway in the wind.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, it's a great station. I spent a lot of time there on shift because I was an observer, and every Friday night I'd report at 6 o'clock and I'd work through to 8 o'clock in the morning at Eastern Hill on Number 1 B Platoon. Wow. And I tell you what, it was one of the experiences of life. I did it for about 15 years, and they do a great job, the men and women of the MFB.
Used to take us kids up there when they'd clean all their hoses, all canvas, and they used to scrub them.
And they'd hang them out. They had a big hose tower at the back.
Yes, and my dad was very, very into that. And I was wondering, David, if they had all the old photos around in there.
They do, Queenie. In the museum there, they have a wonderful, wonderful collection of all the years of the Fire Brigade, not only for the Metropolitan Fire Brigade in Melbourne, but fire services. So our friends from the Country Fire Authority, the Department of Sustainability and Environment, and all the firefighters throughout Australia. Well, great collection of memorabilia and some of the old trucks and the old helmets and badges from around the world.
But he always had this brass helmet.
Yeah, I've got a brass helmet, and also one of my other cherished items. I met a gentleman.
You see Channel 2, 6:30 this evening. Lord Chief Justice Mansfield, a painting of his.
Oh yeah, and from what era? From how long ago?
They mentioned the 17th century.
And was his first name Bruce?
No, they didn't say his first name. They said Lord Chief Justice
Mansfield. Well, that's interesting.
Yes.
It's probably related to Bruce.
Maybe.
Pardon?
Probably related to Bruce, Margaret.
Yes. And they said the British Isles, and they said the 17th century.
Yeah, well, we've always known Bruce comes from good stock, and his ancestors were among the first fleeters, and he's somewhere related to the Sheep King, John MacArthur.
Is he?
Absolutely. John MacArthur, the Sheep King.
Have you done your family tree, Phil?
On my mother's side only, not my father's side. It's a little hard because my father's mother was an orphan. And it's very hard to trace a family tree when you have that stumbling block.
And your father was an amazing man. Dr. Brady, I had the pleasure of meeting him on many occasions.
Yeah, he was special.
A wonderful, wonderful man, Dr. Brady. Very, very, very intelligent, very caring man, Phil. You were blessed.
Thank you. Margaret, anything else you want to say to us?
Doing some more science, I've got reflections on water.
Yeah.
Each colour reflection is a different matter and energy, and related to echo radar, and could lead to a simpler and cheaper form of television.
Really? Is that on the cards? Yes.
Well, it would take a while to sort it out.
Right, well, we'll be watching out for that. Thank you, Margaret.
Margaret could win a Nobel Prize in the future. She really studies and goes in-depth into science and inventions and history.
Years ago, she was the brains behind the CSIRO. It was Margaret who invented cloud seeding. You're aware at the moment I have not one but two dogs. I have both Oro and his grandmother Alice, who is 11 years of age. But Oro's causing me a lot of headaches. He really hasn't eaten anything since Tuesday. And I give him the best of food. He gets the best quality dry food. He gets minced steak, eggs, sardines, rice, veggies. He gets nothing but... Alice, she can't wait for her meal, but it just turns up his nose. He does like pig's ears. He'll eat those dentist sticks. They're good for his teeth. He likes snacks. He likes bones. But when it comes to dinner time, nothing is good enough.
Why is he not eating?
I don't know. We've been to the vet, and the vet said, no, has he got a sore tummy? No, he hasn't got a problem, but he's just off his food.
I heard the other night you were talking with Simon. Oh, happy anniversary to Simon Owens and to Chrissy, his beautiful wife.
Do you know what year they were married? Because I do. It was on this day in...
Oh, gee, are they celebrating?
How long ago?
Gee, I saw them tonight. They were here.
Okay.
Because they'd been out to South Bank for their anniversary dinner, and Chrissy is looking terrific. She is wonderful, because Simon's got 4 children.
I know, yeah. They're teenagers now.
So I suppose they were married, 20 years ago?
21 years ago, 1995.
21 years ago.
And Bruce and Phil were invited to the wedding.
So well done. Now, getting back to Oro, the other night you were saying to Simon that he ate your... I think it was the Titanic pen.
Yes, he's been eating biros, CDs, plastic, books, a desk clock the other day. He is so big now that when he puts his paws up, they're on my shoulders. He can reach to the top of my piano, so nothing is out of reach. I can't hide anything.
And he really is eating all those things.
Yeah, I don't know if he's swallowing them or spitting them out or whatever, but I don't know what's inside his tummy. Maybe we'll have an X-ray.
May this explain perhaps why he's off his food, if he's eating the clock off the mantelpiece?
Yes, he has.
Well, that may explain why he's not eating the goodos, perhaps.
Yeah, but he hasn't.
He's full.
Hopefully, he hasn't swallowed any batteries. That's my worry, you know.
My other concern is when you're here and Oro's at home, are you leaving the radio on?
Yes, he hears me talking about him now. How embarrassing is this?
It's enough to put me off my feet.
Oh, okay. So
but his mum's all right.
No, his grandmother. She'll eat anything, but maybe a vet will ring in and tell me why he's off his food. But do you have a solution?
We might have
you deal with humans.
Yeah, we might have to actually ring Dr. Sally or Dr. Well, Dr. Michael Carr Gregg's not a doctor of medicine.
Would the wellness program be the answer?
Yes, actually, now you're saying that the magazine, the House of Wellness magazine at Chemist Warehouse, the first edition is free, and obviously I spent a lot of time at Chemist Warehouse, so I picked it up. Dr. Sally Coburn, our own Dr. Sally Coburn is in it. Dr. Michael Carr Gregg, who's a regular on Neil Mitchell's program.
I know.
And it's just terrific. And I went, wow, how good is this? So if you pop into a Chemist Warehouse, you'll get it. And yes, the House of Wellness program is right across Australia every Sunday morning, 9 till 10 on 3AW.
Okay.
And your friend, you know Larry, don't you?
Oh, Larry was terrific. He's good on radio too. And he had a panel of girls with him last Sunday morning. It was like Beauty and the Beast. It was so much fun.
Actually, they're very good because Michelle Bridges, obviously, she's very, very much a health person, but what I like, she explains things in layman's terms, and it's not, you've all got to go to gym, you've all got to do this. It was, you know, your diet and what you can do. Kelly Landry, very, very entertaining lady and very much associated with Chemist Warehouse. Gian Rooney. Gian will be part of the team too, so there's the four of them, and I think they rotate the various ladies on the program, and Larry's always there as the...
It was all over in a flash. I thought, is that all there is? It was suddenly 10 o'clock.
Did you learn something?
I did, but I hadn't realised how good Larry is on radio before. I know he's terrific on TV. A lovely guy is Larry, a wonderful guy with a big heart.
A very, very easy program to listen to. So 9 till 10, 3AW, The House of Wellness, and that magazine free. In fact, I think it might have run out at some Chemist Warehouses, but see whether you can pick up a copy and ask Dr. Sally when you see her on Monday night on Sunday night about Oro.
Yeah, it might be too late. This is the House of Nightline. Good evening, Denise and Heathmont.
Oh, good evening, Phil and David. Look, I happened to be in Box Hill today, and I used to spend a lot of my young life there because, especially in Market Street, that sort of runs parallel, vertically to the station, and it was called Market Street then, and that's when the cars used to go by there. It's now all pavement now.
I know exactly what you're talking about because one of my first jobs at school, I ran a little gift shop which was in Whitehorse Road. It's basically opposite where the White Horse is, actually the statue of the White Horse, little gift shop there. So I know Market Street. It's all changed though, hasn't it, because of the railway station and all the different shopping centres?
I sat there and had a cup of coffee and I almost cried. Do you know, every shop in Market Street is run by the Chinese.
Very, very big Chinese area, Box Hill. And
oh, it's a shame. The shops used to be... Box Hill used to be a lovely country shopping centre. And I think the gardens... Yeah, there's still gardens there. But I remember walking through the gardens with my grandfather many, many times because... it was my actual grandparents that ran.
Beautiful bluestone church.
Yes, well, I remember I used to sleep in bed when I was little with my grandparents. So my grandmother actually died in a car accident when she was 60, and it sort of broke the family apart. And we had a bit of a larrikin. My mother had a bit of not a larrikin, a bit of a mischievous sister. She had a bit of and she just disappeared for 4 days, and they had a holiday house down Blairgowrie, and they were going to retire down there, and they were rushing around and weren't concentrating. They were worrying about where their daughter was, and they got a tyre put on the car. It happened to be a tubeless tyre. I don't know what was wrong with the tyre, but on the way down to Blairgowrie, the car rolled.
Oh, no.
And my grandmother got such a shock, she jumped out of the car, and my father had to identify her, and she had scratches on her glasses where she went along the road. She was a lovely person. Funny as it may seem, as much as I love my mother, I used to get on very well with my grandmother, and she used to understand me more than my own mother did.
Yeah, that can happen. Denise, bring me back sometime. I want the name of the milk bar and queue and the ice cream that your family started. I feel like doing a bit of I'll tell you why. Are you in the mood for a bit of Greek?
Phil, stop dancing.
Hang on, I want to throw some plates into the fireplace. Ken, can you organise that? Some plates into the fireplace?
Smash.
Oh,
Phil, I've never seen you jump around this. How's the hip these days?
I've just come from the Giannis Greek Club in the Taverns in High Street East because we had a big night for Rotary. And a week ago, you might recall, we spoke to George Virginus, and George, what a great night we had.
You were superb too. Thank you very much, Philip. And it was a great night, and we've raised a bit of money for 2 local charities, the the poor kids that are suffering all sorts of things like blindness and autism, what have you, down at St Paul's College in Studley Park Road, and the other lot of money will go towards the Burundara Foundation, looking after people that are homeless and that sort of thing. So,
and did Phil sign autographs tonight when he was there?
All of those those photographs, Phil, were all given out. Everybody took one.
Good to hear, George.
We gave a lot out.
Yeah. Now listen, tell us, it was the start of the Q Festival, and that's run over how many days?
Well, I wish I had the program with me, but I think it finishes on the 20th of this month.
Yeah.
It's made up of many items. Every day there's something. But the Rotary Club of Kew kicked off tonight with a dinner dance night at Yanni's Tavern, and that was the beginning of the festival, and Kew Rotary put that on to raise money for those two charities. And it was a great night, and thanks for you being there and making people feel so good. I noticed they all clamoured around you to get you to sign and have a photograph. You're still a very popular man, Philip.
Oh, that's not the point. But George, you're president of Kew Rotary. I bow to you, and
you bow to me.
And George, it must be something about Friday nights with Nightline with Phil, because Phil was at your club, and the Gisborne Rotary Club have asked me to go and MC one of their functions, because obviously they're raising money for the local area and quite a few of the causes.
But that's what Rotary does
in that area. So I said yes, happy to donate my services. So Phil's looking after Kew, I'm looking after Gisborne. I think that's coming up April the 30th.
And David, I've got news for you. We had a raffle, not a raffle, we had a silent auction, and we auctioned off your generous donation.
The tour?
And one of our Kew Rotarian members was lucky enough to pay the highest price, so we got value out of that, and we thank you very much for going to worthy cause.
And there's a bonus. Not only includes a studio tour, but even a weekend with Bruce Mansfield.
Oh, I thought it was Philip Brady.
and by the way, lovely crowd there tonight.
It was, and you were great, and thank you very much for coming.
You know, when I arrived, it was all so noisy, and I thought I won't be heard above the din.
Well,
but they were very.
They were the breaking of plates, Phil. They were the Greek dancing.
Very respectful, very receptive, and it was a pleasure to be a part of it.
You're
and
wonderful,
thanks for calling in tonight.
Thank you very, very much.
Okay.
And you'll make a lot of people happy by your contribution there tonight.
Okay, and it'll happen again in the future. I promise you, George Virginas.
23 to midnight, 3RW693, Philip Brady and David Mann. Nightline, and a beautiful day tomorrow, a top of 25. And Phil, we were talking, the switchboard is full, so we'll try and get through all the calls. Hello to James at Mooney Ponds.
Hello, David, and hello, Phil.
Yeah, this is your time of the night, isn't it, James?
It is, yeah. This is another night of history, culture and travel. You guys are concentrating on historic venues in Melbourne. I'd like to add a few down in St Kilda.
Yes, please,
That was the playground of Melbourne at one stage there, and you have the Luna Park, the St Kilda Beach, the Palais, and the Palais de Dance, which burned down. And
St Moritz?
That's right. Palace nightclub was built on the location, and that burned down as well. Then you have the St Moritz, as you said, David, and the Whiskey A Go-Go, similar to Rob's Carousel.
Yes.
There were telephones on the table, and you could call another table and say, "Hello, would you like to have a cup of coffee with us?" You know.
I remember
that. Sort of thing.
And
yeah, there was the Sea Bars down there, and there was Turkish bars, and across the road there was the Esplanade Hotel.
I'm old enough to remember when there were segregated baths for men and women, and people used to bathe nude in the buff in these sea baths. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
No, I don't remember that, Philip.
I went to St Moritz, and it was amazing, James. It was a huge ice skating rink, and obviously now the ice skating rink, so I think it's called the O'Brien Arena now, which is over in the Docklands area. But St Moritz was great. Whiskey A Go-Go, that's right. And they had the phones. You could actually dial the number, couldn't you?
Yeah, now, I cannot remember, what was the restaurant chain in the city where you'd sit down at the table and pick up a phone and put in your order? And they had one in the Hoyt Cinema Complex in Burke Street.
Look, I was going to ask you both last hour because my mum took me to one. Now, it was down on...
McClure's.
Yes, that's it, David. Well done.
McClure's.
Do you remember that, James?
Yeah, Yes, I do. And also another thing that they had was the little jukebox at each table. You know,
Yes.
You could put a shilling or 10 cents.
Or maybe sixpence in the old. You're so right. It was because and you'd order your meal by picking up the phone. It was terrific fun.
I tell you what, it's amazing we can remember some of these things.
Yeah, thanks so much, James.
Good on you, James.
And you know, in 1947, my father took me to Blick's Milk Bar, long gone, beside the Athenaeum Theatre, and that's where I saw my first jukebox, a great big jukebox, playing the old 78 records.
Oh, playing 78?
Yeah, back in 1947.
Wow.
LPs hadn't been invented then, or 45s. They didn't come till 1948.
And now jukeboxes have CDs.
I know, it's not the same, is it? Times have changed. We must be getting older. Hi, Phil.
G'day, Phil. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for calling.
That's quite all right. And the bloke sitting next to you, he probably remembers Squizzy pretty well from his 5-year-old days.
Oh, is that Phil Taylor?
Yeah, you got it right, boy. You got it right.
Phil Taylor, my goodness. I'm good with voices, bad with names, but I can remember you, Phil. Phil Brady, Phil Taylor was my officer at Eastern Hill on B shift with the Metropolitan Fire Brigade. How are you, Phil?
Yeah, I followed a long line of tradition too, because you had Teddy Bear and a few others before me.
Great people, great people. Lovely to hear from you, because I know that there was some illness in your family, but I hope things are okay.
Mate, she's still kicking on. She's still driving me crazy.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Hey, Phil, take you to the Pancake Parlour. We've got a $50 voucher for you. Pancake Parlour, open 24 hours at High Point, Doncaster, Malvern East. Simply lovely. What's your wife's name?
Margaret.
Okay, keep sweet with her and take her to the Pancake Parlour.
Phil, thanks.
Quick one, David.
Yes, Phil?
Do you remember the day that Darren James and Uncle Roy went to Eastern Hill?
Oh, yes, I do.
Don't you? You remember him going into the smokehouse at the training college?
Yes, and you really gave it to them too.
Well, the bloke in charge of the training college to me and said, well, get that fire that hot in that smokehouse today. Burn the hair on the back of his neck.
Darren and Uncle
You asked Darren about it.
Darren and Uncle Roy were doing the breakfast show, and everybody said they'd love them to go to Eastern Hill. They said, no, even better than that, we'll take them to Abbotsford and we'll put them in the firehouse. Oh, boy, I tell you what, Bruce and Darren really went through it. Phil, it's great to hear from you. Lots of love to Margie too.
And enjoy your day out of the Pancake Parlour.
15 minutes to midnight, Nightline, and Sandra is on the line. Hello, Sandra.
Hi, how you going?
Yeah, turn your radio down, please, Sandra, and we'll talk to you.
Can you tell me what number your radio station is, please?
693 on the AM dial.
693.
Yes?
So, I'm just wondering, apparently I heard just today that Neil Mitchell had an interview with Peter Hunter, the horse and carriage driver, the other day.
All right.
That was a while back he had that interview, Sandra.
Yeah, now I'm just wondering, someone was telling me that he came out looking squeaky clean because he looked like he'd been set up with that. And I'm just wondering that if Neil Mitchell investigated his subjects a little bit more...
Sorry, we've lost you, Sandra. You were becoming very personal, and what you said was quite litigious. So we can't pursue that.
Yeah.
But here's somebody who always plays it safe and won't let us down. And the good news is he's doing Mid-Dawn for the next 2 nights in place of Alan Pissel, who turned 70 this week. Kevin John, it's so good to see you.
Hello, Philip Brady. Hello, David Mann.
Hello, KJ. I always used to say KJ when you were walking through the corridors.
You did.
And you are looking so well.
Am I? I'm feeling very, very well. But maybe being out in the Melbourne summer sun helps doing that.
And Kevin is amazing because he fills in for Darren James when Darren's away, so doing buy, swap and sell and gardening with Jane and the big house, and then overnights when Luke Boner's away, and then I'm
here
thinking,
whenever, as soon as the phone goes, they go, oh, I've got to go back.
Oh, so what's happening tonight?
Well, we're going to have what are you going to celebrate? It's the weekend. I really, Phil, should ask this man what I should be doing overnight. But of course, this is the show that David Mann started on, overnights. How many years ago, David?
Oh, gee, 1974. I was the office boy, and all of a sudden, Mr. Quinn. I never called him Bob. Mr. Quinn said, "Look, someone's sick. We want you on air."
And there was a Friday night at midnight. So 1974. How many years ago is that?
And
can anybody remember?
42 years ago. But But then I ended up doing Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Yeah, I remember that. I was always getting home when the sun was coming up and listening to you on the radio. You were speaking Japanese, but I really... Maybe you weren't. Maybe it was just me.
And in those days, we had a lot of fun because we'd do the whip around and the only people that were open early hours of a Sunday morning were all the casinos.
Oh, no, that's right.
So we go to each casino and talk to Kamal and then Gene Pitney and Max Bygraves and whoever.
It was wonderful radio.
And when I say we, it was just me. There wasn't anybody else. And then you'd play a comedy track, Wayne and Schuster, Rinse the Blood Off My Toga. You'd run across the Bluestone courtyard. You'd rip off the telexes. You'd come back and say, Macquarie National News at 1 o'clock. And then all of a sudden I had one thing that I learned from one of our greats, Jeff Mannion, and if you didn't know the name, so I'd say the Japanese Prime Minister. And I'd touch the microphone because I wouldn't know what his name was.
Because I was part of the team in the 70s.
Oh, yeah, I was your
music. Do you know, this is the first time I've ever been on air with Kevin. What a thrill for me.
It is a thrill for me.
We have never faced the same microphone together, ever.
And I am so impressed at the way both of you are wearing ties this evening. And here I am sloughing in an open-necked shirt. I feel quite out of it. What's Kenny doing? Oh no, Ken's not wearing anything.
Casual.
No, but I've been here since 2 a.m. this morning. Give me a break.
Ken was on air with Tony Moclair talking music.
Yeah, one-hit wonders. Now listen, I can't wait to get in the car and hear your show. It'll be very entertaining.
Good on you, Phil.
And welcome back to Weekend Radio on 3AW. Kevin, where you belong.
Thank you.
Bruce's poetry piece. Peter Podbury down in Geelong sent us this, Phil, and it's a groaner. One of those groaners of a piece. A couple lived near the ocean and used to walk the beach a lot. One summer they noticed a girl who was on the beach pretty much every day. She wasn't unusual, nor was the travel bag she carried, except for one thing. She would approach people who were sitting on the beach, glance around and speak to them. Generally, the people would respond negatively and she'd wander off, but occasionally someone would nod. And there would be a quick exchange of money for something that she carried in her bag. The couple assumed she was selling drugs and debated calling the cops, but since they didn't know for sure, they just continued to watch her. After a couple of weeks, the wife asked, "Have you ever noticed that she only goes up to people with boom boxes and other electronic devices?" He hadn't noticed and said so. Then she said, "Tomorrow, I want you to get a towel and our big radio and go and lie on the beach. Then we can find out what she's really doing." Well, the plan went off without a hitch, and the wife was almost hopping up and down with anticipation when she saw the girl talk to her husband and then leave. The man walked up the beach and met his wife at the road. "Well, is she selling drugs?" she asked excitedly. "No, she's not," he said, enjoying this probably more than he should have. "Well, what is it then?" his wife fairly shrieked. The man grinned and said, "Her name is Sally, and she's a battery salesperson." "Batteries?" cried the wife. "Yes," he replied. "Sally sells sea cells by the seashore."
Copyright restricts distribution of this piece by any means of duplication.
David, man, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Phil, it's always good to pop in on a Friday evening. Thanks to Kenny Francis. Ken, who's put in some remarkable hours recently. Gary McQuaid in the newsroom. Kevin John after midnight. And seeing you, buddy, is always terrific, and all the Nightliners. And we caught up on a lot of history tonight.
We did. It's good of Ken to be here because he's really become a Tony Moclair man, and especially a Mike Brady man, you know. He's sort of slumming it here tonight on the Friday Nightline.
We'll look forward to seeing lots of 3AW listeners out at Flemington tomorrow in 4 minutes' time. That's when tomorrow starts, but about 11:30 and through till 5:30 for the 3AW Guineas Family Race Day.
And I'll be judging the best groomed horse. That'll be fun.
And hopefully winning some money for the Starlight Foundation, Phil.
Now, Shane, Richard, Bernadette, sorry we didn't get time to talk to you tonight. Maybe you'll ring Kevin John after midnight on 96900 693. Special guest Sunday night on Remember When, Bobby Johnson from the Blue Jays. Boy, has he got some stories to tell. He really knows his rock and roll.
Have a great weekend, Phil, and to all the Nightliners, have a healthy and happy weekend, because I know some of our friends are not in the best of health.
And to you, Bruce, you're always in our heart, always on our mind, and always in our prayers.